more with paperplusoffice.co.nz. Shop online anytime. They're open 24/7.
This evening on the Huddle, Josie Pagani is back with us. Hello, Josie.
Hi, Larry.
Good to talk to you. And Cameron Slater, the editor of Truth and also whaleoil.co.nz. G'day, Cam.
Hey, Larry.
Josie, you're first up this evening. Labor is insisting it's possible to build a $300,000 home in Auckland. David Shearer continues to defend his party's Kiwi Build policy, which aims to build 100,000 affordable homes over a 10-year period, but he has revealed that the price in Auckland won't be $300,000, it could be $550,000. How do you see it?
Well, that's right, for a standalone house, but he's saying that for $300,000 you can get apartments or terraced housing. And the idea, I've heard this a lot in the media today, the idea that this somehow by necessity creates a ghetto is wrong. You create ghettos by building poor housing all in the same area. If you're building affordable housing and mixing it with expensive housing, you don't get ghettos. And ironically, that's exactly what something like the Hobsonville plan was.
Yeah, but problem is, if you are mixing it with expensive housing, Josie, it's going to cost a lot more. What we're looking at is a 50 square metre terraced home or apartment or something.
Well, that's right. But I mean, look, I've lived in a two-bedroom apartment in high-density city environments. It happened to be in Paris. This is normal. You know, most cities across the world have these kind of high-density terraced block apartments or terraced houses, and it can work. It's not by very definition something that's going to be hideously ugly and ghetto.
Well, Cameron, what do you? For some reason, I don't think we're going to see any Paris-type apartments built in Auckland. What do you see in this?
The Labor Party loves to use the word apartment because it sounds sexy, it sounds loft-like, it sounds New York, it sounds hip.
Why not?
But the reality is it's going to be Soviet-style blocks built on the cheap by the lowest bidder, and it'll just be a farce and a joke. And the Labor Party is simply tricking people by calling it affordable homes. These aren't homes. They aren't even apartments. They're flats. It's affordable flats. We used to have that. I'm sure if you look out the window of the studio right behind you, Larry, you can see some of those horrid little flats.
Well, it's junk.
Hold on a minute. Let's have a look at a city like Melbourne, for example. Now, they've just rolled out a whole plan where they reckon they can take on board the growth in population within their urban limits. And they're looking at doing a whole lot of high-density apartment blocks and terrace housing and stuff like that. And they've detailed everything, the parks, the transport. You know, it looks beautiful. Now, there's absolutely no reason, Cam, why it has to be some Soviet blimmin'.
All right, okay, Josie, I gotta look. I've just come back from Melbourne, and one of the things I commented on, and I asked a number of people about this. Melburnians, and they agreed. The Melbourne skyline currently has been butchered with the junky type apartments you're talking about, this high-density apartment complexes. The skyline is just awful in Melbourne now, and this has all happened within the last, 2 or 3 years.
This is their new plan.
Well,
incorporating the future growth. And look, the construction industry itself is saying, yep, we can do it. This is a good thing. We can do multi-proof designs. We can make them nice, beautiful, modern. The idea that you can't do it is silly.
You can't call it affordable homes. When people want some land around them, that's a home. When you say, well, no, our affordable homes plan, actually, like Grant Robertson said, it's affordable apartments, and it turns out to be affordable flats.
Now, I agree with something you say there, Cam, that I think a lot of people, maybe, the Labor Party's got to get their head around this, that some people will want to live out with a bit of land, and then you go out into the green belt, build outside of Auckland too. But the idea that just because you're saying, right, we're going to do some high-density building to make it affordable in places like Auckland, the idea that that's therefore going to equal a ghetto is just daft.
We'll come back in just a moment. Josie Pagani and Cameron Slater on The Huddle. It's 16-6.
Larry Williams Drive with the business banking specialists at Westpac.
Back on The Huddle with Josie Pagani and Cameron Slater. Cameron, I just want to continue with this theme, and I'll come back to you in a moment, Josie, but there seems to be a few things obvious about this policy from the Labor Party. One, Auckland was the plank for the policy. There's no question about that. Now all of a sudden it's $550K for the house, not $300,000. So it hasn't been thought through properly. Logistically, I think it's impossible to build an extra 10,000 homes a year over and above what we already build. and they won't be able to deliver it for that price tag. What do you say?
Well, Larry, let me just correct you there, because actually the industry is saying quite the opposite. They're saying that they can build 100,000 in over a period of number of years.
Well, I don't believe them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, in the 1970s, we were building 35,000 houses a year. In the early 2000s, we were building about 30,000 a year, so it's dropped to about 15,000 a year. The reason it's dropped is they've stopped building the affordable housing. There's no incentive. If you're a developer, you're going to build the nice, posh,
Righto, okay.
aren't you? So
well,
you can do it.
the cost they said initially was $3 billion. So if you virtually double the price, it's $6 billion. I don't know where it's coming in. Cameron, what do you say on this?
Well, look, the maths have never added up on this right from the get-go. I don't believe that the industry is saying that they can do this, although the Labor Party has been very good to the likes of Fletchers over the years in building state houses, how they made their millions in the first place. Then when you start looking at this pepper potting idea, it's just farcical. You know, they can't build a house that's, say, $300,000, stick it in the middle of a whole lot of houses that are worth $600,000, say, there you go, there's the affordable house. The market will dictate what the price of that house is.
And
from the moment it is sold.
Even Bill English, Cam, admitted the end of last year, the market is failing in terms of housing. The market's not working. Well, Bill English said it, and he's right.
Well, he lives in Karori. I mean, what would he know about Auckland? I live in Auckland.
Oh, well, so you're saying Bill English is wrong. The market's fine. Leave it to the market. Look, I'll tell you another point here, though, that the problem with National's proposals here for housing, which I don't actually have a problem with. I think they're right. You've got to speed up consent and you've got to free up land. But the problem they've got is there's no guarantee with any of that the affordable houses will be built. And that's where the gap in the market is. So unless...
It's a word. It's rubbish.
All right.
Because I can tell you right now that whoever gets this wonderful lottery affordable house...
So what would you do, Cam?
For $300,000...
What would you do?
Sell it as soon as they can for $550 for windfall profit. It's a joke.
So houses have tripled in value.
All right, can we just move on to something the same but slightly different, if I can put it that way? The Greens of today, they've released more details of how they're going to fund their party's affordable housing policy. Essentially, as I see it, they're going to raid the National Land Transport Fund. $900 million to go for roads. That's our excise taxes. Is that the way it is, Josie?
I have to say, I think that's a bit daft to change your mind and then say we're going to fund it out of the roads of national significance. And I don't know why everybody's suddenly anti-roads. If you've got to have decent roads in order to get from one house to another, and actually you have to have decent roads to get your products to port or airport. So I think what they've done is like they did with monetary policy, and they suddenly decided, right, it's going to be...
Print money.
What they do is they pick a fight they don't need. We don't need to have a fight right now about roads. We need to have a fight about how the hell are we going to get affordable housing so young people can buy their first home.
No, they can buy them. They're affordable. Just walk around Flatbush and there's houses with for sale signs. They go up in the morning. 2 weeks later, they're sold. They must be affordable because they must be affordable.
You can't say they're affordable. Come on, you can't say they're affordable for your first-time buyer. I mean, I couldn't buy a house now if I was starting out.
Greens are just making up policy on the fly. Last year we had the man on the roof. He made that up. This year we've got some, pipe dream affordable homes plan. They haven't done the sums. I hear now they're busily trying to employ infometrics to come up with some numbers to make it fit the plan they drew up on the back of a table napkin. It's a complete joke, and the Greens make it even more of a joke because the reality is that they'd like us all to live in caves. They're the Green Taliban.
Thank you, Cameron Slater, and thank you, Josie. Josie Pagani, Cameron Slater on the Huddle. Murray Deaker to follow. It's now 9 to 6.